everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to get started a couple of minutes early here. It's almost 6:30. We're kind of wanting to get done tonight so we can watch this tournament. I'm just not going to lie about it.
Not gonna lie. A little stress tonight.
So, we'll take roll.
Flamini,
Oh, yeah.
Funberg,
I like it.
Here. Johnson,
Here.
Lopez.
Here.
McFarland,
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Zimmers.
Here.
That is 7 present.
President's comments this evening. I want to read this. We haven't had a speaker in a long time, so I keep forgetting to read this. So I'm going to read it. Public comments on published agenda items will occur during the public comments portion of the meeting. If you're interested in addressing the board, fill out the required public participation at board meetings form and submit it to Ms. Hankins in the front row. And also, when people are speaking, we do have a 3-minute time limit on it. Especially this time of the year, we're starting to talk about budgets and get into that. A lot of times we have multiple speakers, so we want to remind you are limited to 3 minutes when you speak. Another part of my comments tonight, a couple of weeks ago, I went to Lindsay Elementary. They had what's called a living wax museum, and Governor Rauner happened to be there that day, and which I was very appreciative of. I'm very glad that he is visible in our community, but that's not really what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about, I wanted to take my hat off to the teachers and the students at Lindsay for putting this program on. This has been going on for 8 years. I did not realize that it had gone on that long. This is the first time I physically have seen it. Very impressed. It is a very unique way to teach history. All the 5th graders at Lindsay picked a historical figure dressed in that period of time that character or the historical figure was around. They had a short presentation about the character, and also they had a video that kind of explained the historical figure's life. So I was very impressed with it. So again, my hat's off to all the teachers and all the students at Lindsay. Great job. It was very impressive. I'm very glad I saw it. So, and now we'll go on to board salutes, and we'll start with Mr. McFarland.
I have a couple here. First, I want to salute Enterprise Recovery Systems, which gave a scholarship prize to Lanphier for getting 3rd place in the Financial Literacy Bowl. I also want to salute Hy-Vee locally for giving funds for a community garden over at Butler. Thank you for that. And then finally, I want to salute all of our elementary schools who opened up for K-Night a few weeks ago, but specifically Fairview and Principal Nixon, Miss Jones, Miss Kelly over in the kindergartens, and the whole staff. My family is going to be a whole bunch of Fairview Falcons next year, and we really had a good time. It was a great turnout, and we're looking forward to it. So, thanks.
I don't have anything.
Mr. Flamini?
I do. McLernan Elementary invited all of us to come and read. Rosalind, you came, which was very nice. I don't know how you got out of Springfield High School to do that, but that's okay. Mrs. Gill, Mr. Zimmers, I read in Mrs. Knowles' class, and I told them that our meetings are on television. And they asked if I would hold my sign up that they made for me, and I said I would.
Nice.
So Greg, are you getting this? This is for Mrs. Knowles' class. It was an awesome day. Thank you for inviting all of us. We had a really good spring into reading event, and it was really good. So thank you.
Johnson?
So I don't think I have any. So.
I was in Mrs. Border's class. It was the first grade classroom in McLaren, and had a really nice time with the kids. In fact, before I left, they said to me, would you come back and do it again? And so I've committed that I will come back and do it a few more times before the end of the school year. I really had a good time. I also attended K-9. I went to Enos. One of the reasons I chose Enos is because I volunteer there one day a week in the kindergarten classroom, so I kind of wanted to see the incoming kindergartners as they were coming in. I kind of had a dual purpose there. But Enos did a very good job. They had a nice crowd that evening. And K-9 is very important to kind of get parents kind of attuned to what to expect, especially if they've not had children in school before. It kind of gives people an idea of what to expect in kindergarten. I think a lot of people, especially my age, think kids sleep half the day in the kindergarten. They don't sleep at all anymore. It's work all day long. So it's one of the things they tell parents. So, okay. At this time,
We've got a
did you want to speak,
recognition.
Rosalind, or did you want to wait till student business?
Oh, wait.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
At this time, we're going to recognize a fifth grade class at Owen Marsh. I'm going to introduce to you Claire Benoit, who's a fifth grade class teacher who won first place at the state Rube Goldberg competition. And Mrs. Gill is going to read exactly what that competition is. You want to come on up?
Yeah, come on up.
Yes.
Congratulations, and if you want
Wonderful.
to, I'll read what it is, and then if you want to go over there and you can say all the names out loud.
Certificates, so we don't butcher the names. So.
So as your teacher gets ready, I'll tell about what you did, because it's pretty amazing. The Rube Goldberg Project is a hands-on, minds-on approach to teaching engineering, math, and science in the classroom. Engineers from the community volunteer their time to bring this project to as many fifth grade classrooms as possible. From December through February, the students and their teachers worked with hand in hand with the volunteer engineers a couple of times per week to learn about Newton's law of motion in order to design and build a Rube Goldberg machine, which is a series of simple machines pieced together in an effort to achieve a simple task. Kind of like a game of mousetrap when we were growing up. So our task this year was to move and fold a piece of paper. So the students in your classroom invented a contraption that had 10 transfers of energy, like a ball hitting another ball down an inclined plane that then swirls through a tunnel and so on. And it had to move and fold the paper along the way, which cannot be easy. So through the Rube Goldberg is formed from simple machines, and its goal is quite simple. It is a far from a simple job to complete, lots of days of planning and researching what you were going to do and working together. So along the way, the students learn to solve problems, work together, and achieve their goals. Each student's talents shine as they collaborate, and they journal about their engineering process, design the steps, construct the machine, and then write and practice performing an engaging presentation. The engineers today are Tim Sharp and Mike Irwin, and we are so thankful for your time that you put into helping them. So we also want each of you to get a little TV time here and come up and accept a certificate on behalf of the school board, and your teacher will help us with the names. If you want to talk into the microphone right there, it'll go through the TV just a little bit better for us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As she said, it's simple machines put together, but it was far from simple, and I'm so happy that they all get the recognition that they deserve because they worked so hard. And I'm going to read every name, whether they're here or not. So Dallas is not here today. Dallas Anderson, Olivia Baima, come on up.
Maybe just have them stand up here in front of our
That would be awesome.
of our
Stand right
table.
beside me
Yeah,
here.
good job.
Ty Macon, he said he might. Ty Banks, he's not here. Sarah Becker, super journaler. Emmanuel Bowlin Jones, not here. Caroline Coe, Minna Elmokashfi, Gabriela Gonzalez, she might make it. Nope. Let's see. Clay Higginson. Our mousetrap setter. Good. Oh, the balloon, sorry. You were the weights. Sorry. Ayana Jones, it's been a while. Daniel Katalinich, come on up. All right. Cooper Kowalewski. McKenna Lambert, I know she's here. Keegan Meeks, Kaylee Murray, excellent at design. Zobair Nasser, not here yet. Julia Pacheco. It's getting more and more green. Jamarion Pack, he's not here. Anthony Peralta, an engineer in the making. Marina Peterson, our singer. Brayden Romanato, come on up. Dearius Rush. And Demiria Scott. Did you make it? No. Mikhail Span. Carter Sterling. Kylie Sukit. Alea Sutton. And Seth Yarrington. And then we have certificates for our engineers who we could not have done it without, and I'm so happy to have them with us in the classroom. That connection to the community. Tim Sharp. Sorry, I'm going to make you stand in front too. And Mike Irwin. Guys, one more hand. Round of applause here.
Yay.
Well, that is great. We're very proud of you. I know
Yeah.
your parents are. Good job. Good
And
job.
thanks to all the
Great.
parents who came tonight, and I saw Mrs. Wanless, their principal, back there as well, so thank you for everything you do.
Okay, now we'll go on to the discussion items. 4.1, old business. Do any members have any old business? If not, I have something to bring up. We talked a few weeks ago about reconvening board policy committee around elections and a policy that we have for use of buildings. And one of the things I wanted to talk to everyone about is just maybe kind of having a discussion or approval about maybe in the next few weeks, setting aside a couple of dates where we could have an open meeting, a public meeting around this issue. Mr. McFarland, Mrs. Moore, and myself have been on that policy committee, but anyone is invited to come to it. So I think maybe if we could establish a couple of dates where we could talk about it. And I think, Mr. McFarland, didn't you state once before that you guys had worked on something similar, so there should be some groundwork?
Yeah, we were talking about finding the draft of that, but I know we discussed, and the discussion that came out of the committee before was to eliminate much of the campaigning on school grounds.
Okay.
And that's the same reason why we don't have school board elections in our city tournament brochure.
Okay.
Right, and in addition to just those two policies, we know that some new laws have come up where we need to create some policies or adjust our policies, so this is a perfect time to have this conversation, and we can address those as well.
So if no one has any objections, we'll go ahead and probably set a couple of dates to talk about this. There may be other things that we need to discuss policy-wise. If so, we can kind of include those, but we'll just get some dates out. Like I said, it's open to any of us. There are three of us around the committee, but everybody's welcome to come, so. Okay. Anyone else have any old business? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to 4.2, new business. Do any members have any new business? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to 4.3, student business.
Once again, I'd like to thank the teachers and students at McLernan for inviting us to come and read to them for their Spring Into Reading. I had a lot of fun. The kids were so cute. They were so kind. They had
Which class were you in?
I think it was Mrs. Travis's class.
Yes, first grade.
And they had a cute little thank you song when we were done. It was so adorable. But it was a wonderful experience. I wish I could come back and do it again.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they'll have you back anytime.
But so this week on Wednesday, we're actually having our shadow days where each of the roundtable members will go to a different school, and one of us will host the other student. Then we'll go over to their school. And really the point of the meetings was to combat the different prejudices and misconceptions we have about each school, because it goes a lot deeper than just like rivalries between teams. It gets to the point where parents don't want to send their kids to a certain school because of misconceptions that really aren't true. So we're hoping that this will sort of show everyone that our schools are a lot similar than we like to think they are, and that you're really safe and welcome at every school. And we'll videotape our roundtable meeting afterward, which you're all invited to come to if you'd like to sit down and see the discussion. And we're going to show it on the school website so everyone can see it, and really hoping to have a lot of fun that day.
Yeah.
So that is 4 o'clock in the boardroom
Yes.
this
Okay.
Wednesday for the roundtable discussion.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great idea. We're looking forward to it. I want to see how it goes. It's great. Thank you. Okay, and I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Gill, 5.1. She's going to
Right.
introduce some guest presentations to the board.
All right. Well, I have some friends here from the Illinois Association of School Boards, Dean Langdon and Sandra Quazza, and I'll let you, of course, introduce yourselves when you come up. But this presentation today is going to be directed at some board training that has come free of charge to us because we are working with the Center for School Improvement at the state level. This is something that is provided to our school district, and it's an opportunity for us to do many things throughout a course of a year. So we'll let them do their presentation, though they know better than I. I'm good. I've got all the information.
Thank you very much for the opportunity
Yes,
and
thank
the
you.
time on your agenda. I know that you've got a lot of things to get through and you'd like to get out early, so we will be very respectful of your time. Go Badgers. Wait a minute.
I know. Oh, I thought they worked well together. I know.
But what I'd like to call your attention to is an opportunity, as Superintendent Gill pointed out, for some training that we call Targeting Achievement Through Governance. We know that good governance is about being a good steward of the resources. We know it's about representing your community. It's also about connecting to student achievement. So we put together a series of trainings that connect governance to student achievement. I'm going to go through just a couple of pages on the left-hand side of your packet. So call your attention to the left-hand side. And then my colleague Sandra Quassa will take over from there. The left-hand side shows you a sheet that says Emerging Understanding about the role of the board for improving student learning. All of these pieces you'll find in our training sessions. So the training sessions that Sandra will go over will touch on all of these pieces and hopefully get you to a better understanding of the connection between good governance and student learning. So there's a growing body of research that says that good boards set clear expectations, and that helps the board to have a better understanding towards improving student achievement. That mission, vision, goal piece is something we want our boards to own. We don't want the administration to own that. We want our boards to determine what the future of the district looks like 10, 15 years down the road. Good boards making a connection to student achievement also consider the conditions so that the work can succeed. The support you put together at the board level sets the tone for the district. So we'll talk a lot about the relationship between board members, the relationship between board members and the superintendent, and the relationship between the board and the staff. We'll also talk a little bit about holding the system accountable. If you have set the expectations high and clear up front, it's important for you to hold that system accountable to meet those expectations down the road. And then there's a piece of connecting with the community. That's creating the public will to succeed. Really more art than science. It's a two-way conversation that needs to take place between the community and the school board. How do we get to where we need to go? How do we set up the urgency so that we can make those change initiatives work in the district? And then finally, there's that continuous learning piece, which is all about the board's role in continuous learning, professional development at the board level, and setting up the organization so that you can look forward to the goals that you want to achieve as a school district. So I'll turn it over to Sandra. She'll go into some of the specifics.
Okay, we're on the right side already. All right, okay. If you would, please just take out the, I guess it's light brown colored, Phase 1 components. We tend to talk about our training in terms of components. And so again, Dean mentioned no cost. I'll say that again, no cost. I'll say it again, no cost, okay, to you, the school district. But these are free services because it is a grant, as I think he mentioned. So if you look at the left side, you'll see that training opportunities include, first of all, an orientation. And we're going to call this the orientation that we're doing today for you. For it's about 20 minutes, but we're going to condense it to 10 minutes so that we can leave. Okay, on the left side, you'll also see a board governance review. And this is basically a time for you to look at yourself, how you are performing, and how you are doing your work together as a board. How many of you all have participated in a board governance review? Has anybody here? It's basically a self-evaluation too, so many of you have. And that is in a closed session, about 3-hour meeting. It also goes to data first. Data first is basically saying to the board, how do you use data to make good decisions? Boards now are saying it's not just enough to anecdotally say we're doing a good job. How do we know we're doing a good job? And that's what the Data First addresses. You'll see on the right side then, district planning and goal. One of the main roles of the board is what? To setting a clear purpose for your district, and basically that's what this will clarify for you. The Illinois report card. How many of you all have seen the Illinois report card? Say yes. Okay, you've gone out there. So we'll talk a little bit about how to use that as a decision-making tool, using, again, data to make good decisions to govern your district. And then finally, we always end with another board governance review. This is about a 12-month process. So we want to kind of take a benchmark at the beginning, how are we doing? And then after 12 months, how are we doing once again, too? So that's basically why we have 2 board governance reviews, number 1 and 2. Any questions on the phase 1 components?
Okay, you mentioned some are open, some are closed.
Right.
So, let's see, the closed would be the 2 reviews.
Exactly, and those would be the 2 that are closed.
And then all
closed
the
session.
others are open.
According to the Open Meetings Act, that is one of the exceptions, yes. Any other questions? Okay, let's go on to the green color, please. Again, this is a 12-month commitment for phase 1, and if we were to price these services, they would be rather pricey. But for you, again, the cost is what?
Free.
Free. Okay. What we are, though, asking is for you to commit your time. And if you look at the green sheet, you'll see they're about 3-hour sessions. I think the IRC or Illinois Report Card is about 2 hours. And well, just kind of think of it as one meeting every other month that we're asking for your commitment of time. Questions on the green sheet? On the, we're going to call it goldenrod.
Nice.
Is that okay?
Yeah, we like it.
On the goldenrod sheet, it prices the value of the services. So if we were to price each one of these individually and then collectively, it would be about a $4,200 offering, which we are offering to you for.
No price.
Okay. Okay. So, the next sheet is then the blue sheet, light blue sheet. And basically, what do you have to do if you're interested in if the board is interested in participating? Basically, what we're asking you to do is, again, commit your time for a 12-month period. And we'd ask that the board president and the superintendent sign at the bottom of this sheet. And basically, this sheet just commits to you that you, as a board, are willing to participate and give of your time for this particular phase 1 component. And that's what the blue sheet is. And then finally, the last sheet talks about phase 2. Well, let's get through phase 1 first, okay? So after phase 1, we will offer a phase 2, which basically is very customized to your particular needs. So there's about 3 to 5 sessions of training, and you can see from the list of courses that are listed all the way from superintendent evaluation to making meetings matter to data first, some diversity and conclusion workshops. You can pick depending on what your board identifies as their specific needs. So in this phase 2, we customize whatever you want. Okay? Are there any questions?
We do an awful lot of individual board member training. In fact, we've got a season coming up where we've got 20 locations around the state for board members needing their mandated training and their basics of governance. But as an association, we really feel like the best training takes place in district, where 7 board members work with the superintendent, in-house, convenient for you, where we can apply that work, we can apply all those good governance principles to what you're working on at the moment. So we would encourage you to think about setting that first date. Really coming up with the first date for training is the hardest part of the whole equation, just finding the date that all 7 of you can get together with your superintendent and set that meeting. So maybe the first, I don't know, anywhere from May through the first part of June would be a great time. You will have had an election at that point. You'll have that new board member seated, correct? And so it's a great time to bring that new person in and begin that board training cycle so that it's just a part of what you do as a board.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Can each of you give a little bit of your backgrounds? Because I'm understanding you would be the team that would work with us. Just
Yes.
give the board a little, I've met you, so I want to make
Yes.
sure everybody else has.
My name is Sandra Kwasa, once again, Kwasa. And I've been with the school board for about 8 years. And I work in board development, so I'm the person that puts together much of the curricula that you all have an opportunity to attend, as well as facilitating the workshops. before coming to the Board of School Boards, I was in private industry. I worked for the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. And I actually started here, somewhere near here, at the IBM, somewhere near here. And I used to live right up the street. And as soon as I leave here, I'm going to find where I used to live. It was an apartment with a balcony. That's all I remember.
We have a lot of those.
Anyway, so basically, yeah. So I was I've been a marketing, have marketing background, and anywhere I've been, I've always been an advocate for public education. So here I am now, have two children that have gone through the public school system and are now 23 and 26 and financially independent.
That's all right.
I'm sorry, that's new to me. So I'm kind of enjoying saying that.
We all look forward to those
Yes,
days.
yes.
And Dean Langdon, I've been with the association for 7 years now. The first 5 were as a field service director. So your field service director, Larry Dirks, has 4 divisions throughout Illinois. I had 4. Only 2 years in the position I'm in now, which is the board development position. Again, creating those courses, working on the curriculum, trying to roll out all those courses to school board members across the state. My background before that was as a school administrator. So I had 13 years as a school administrator, and then prior to that, a classroom teacher. So I have an education background. Let me speak to who might be coming to do the training for you. I think at this point, Sandra will be the lead on bringing the training to your board. But we try to work without boundaries in the association. So, for example, if there's a piece of this training where Sandra needs to reach out either to myself or another field service director to bring in some expertise, we'll do that. We'll bring that person in for that particular workshop. We have one other full-time tag consultant who works out of our Lombard office. If we need to bring him in for a particular piece, we'll do that as well. So we'll customize it for you.
Anything else? Well, we look forward to working with you. Thank you very
All right.
much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time.
No, thank you
Thank
for the
you.
overview.
Does anyone have any discussion about this, about the training?
I do.
Okay,
May's gonna be a tough month for me, so.
okay. Well, we can find
that's
a,
good.
we can find a date, and once we start getting all those award ceremonies for our seniors and all that, it gets pretty tight. So we can look for a date that'll work.
And I would recommend before you talk about any dates that you make sure the new person is sat so they're involved in that discussion too.
Exactly, and that's why we brought the overview today, just because that would be the kickoff, but get specific. Okay.
Okay, now on to business report 6.1. Financial report.
Okay, Mr. Basco?
President Zimmer's, members of the board, attached to your board packet is a summary of revenue and expenditures for the month of March 2015 for the education and the operations and maintenance fund. Also included is a accounts receivable outstanding report. At the end of March, our outstanding state payments totaled $4.1 million. As of today, that number is $3.2 million. For the month of March, Ed Fund revenues were $4.61 million. Expenditures were $8.36 million, with expenditures exceeding revenue by $3.75 million. In the O&M Fund, revenues were $3,152, and expenditures were $1.06 million, with expenditures exceeding revenues by $1.06 million.
Anyone have any questions?
Are you going to discuss the cuts in your superintendent's report?
I will.
Okay, then I'll wait for that. Thanks.
I do have well, I don't know if it's a question or comment. I think we've talked about this before. At the end of the school year, sometime in the summer, because I think this is important for people to know. I think we had 24 unfunded mandates this year that were imposed upon us. Can we cost out what that has cost us as a district to come into compliance with those mandates? Because I think that's important for people to know. You know, the training we have to do around that costs us money, you know, those types of things. If we could have that sometime this summer, just so we have that information.
Yeah, we've actually got an outline through the Vision 2020 coalition or network. We have some outline of all those different mandates, so we can sit down and look and, yeah.
Mike?
Yes.
Scott, I'm not sure if this was your question, but Mrs. Gil, you and I have spoken about this. You're going to address in your comments where we are with respect
Sure.
to the budget timetable.
Right, and Joe can help me during that time
And the
as well.
implications.
Yes, right.
Okay,
Very much so.
Yes. I know
These are
exactly what
thinking.
your question is, so. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, we're going to go into a public hearing at this time. I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn into public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second. And this has to do with 7.1 bond issue notification hearing. And at this time, again, we'll turn it over to Mr. Basco.
Do we have to do a roll call?
Or do we have to do a roll call?
We have to do
Oh,
a roll
yeah,
call
I'm sorry.
first.
Okay.
Thunderberg.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lopez.
Here.
McFarland.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Clemany. That is 7 ayes.
So basically, at this point in time, it's just an opportunity for any public comment or board questions on the bond issue coming up for $10 million in working cash funds. Bonds that we're asking for up to $10 million. If we believe that the amount we're actually going to ask for at this point in time is $5 million, and we would have up to 3 years in addition to that to issue the additional $5 million if we felt that was necessary.
And as we discussed 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, our debt to budget ratio is rather good for these bond issuances, correct?
It is.
As opposed to other school districts.
Some other school districts, right.
And this is at no cost to the residents in Springfield.
Well, it will add to it does not increase the taxes at this point in time. The payments will be included in our other bond schedule as part of our bond schedule, so.
Right.
Well, let's be clear, it's not good, because we're going to have to pay off the interest on it. So, when paying off that interest over the course of several years, we're going to have to not pay for something else. So it is going to affect the community.
It will. It will affect the community at the end of the process more than anything, as far as.
But I think we need to explain so folks understand we're not just borrowing money to borrow money.
Yes.
Where there's a reason for it. We're not getting payments, categorical payments on time, and we've been cut with the budget by the state, general state aid. So there's some reasons for
There's
it.
cuts, the money is, we've been told now by the state not to expect our third and fourth categorical until after July 1. It's really a matter of cash flow at this point in time. We've worked to get our budget balanced, and it's really just to make sure that we have money in the bank to pay the bills. And then once taxes come in, we'll have that to repay. So,
And these bonds will go up for sale in June,
in May.
in May, okay? It's, okay.
I think the closing date is the first week of June.
Right.
Okay.
The process will start after there's a vote, the first board meeting in May, and the process of the sale will start then, at the closing date.
We need to seat our new board member and have our new board member vote on it so that we can sell. We can't have Mr. McFarland vote and then have a new board member to sell. So we have to have the same 7 board members. So that's kind of where the timeline was and why we put this in motion when we did.
I just keep causing trouble.
Yeah, you are, I tell you. And what will this do to our line of, having to use our line of credit? Because that's another thing that we're always doing is tapping out our full line of $22 million of
Right now, it's
credit.
at $22 million. Any more, our June tax payment that we use to pay that back currently is about $27 million. So really, we can't afford to increase our line of credit because then we're not going to have any tax revenue left after we pay it off. So it's really, then hopefully in the long run, the idea would be to back off on that line of credit to make that number look better. And then eventually, somewhere down the road, hopefully not need the line of credit and just the working cash. We'll have enough in reserves for the working cash.
And also not need the full 10 million, but just use what we need at the
And
time.
this goes back to what Mr. Zimmers was just talking about. The community needs to point out to the state that this isn't because we're not making our payments. This is because the state's not making their payments.
Right.
We have a budget that is in the black until the state stops giving its fair share. And that's the problem we're having now. We need to keep pushing that at the Capitol, letting them know that you're killing us here every time.
Have we received our second categorical?
We just received most of them last week, and then the final couple were released today.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, so when will these funds be available to us?
Shortly after the closing,
Okay.
so in June.
Anything else?
I think we need to ask for public comment.
Yes. At this time, does anyone in the audience and the public have a comment, question? Okay, hearing none. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to resume to the regular meeting.
I move.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Johnson?
Aye.
Lopez?
Aye.
McFarland?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Zimmers?
Aye.
Flamini?
Aye.
Thunderbird?
Aye.
That is 7 ayes.
Okay, now Superintendent's Report 8.1.
All right, well, I'll just keep on with the good news here, and Mr. Basco, if you want to jump in at any point in time. We did receive some information from the state of Illinois in the last 2 weeks since the last board meeting regarding the level of proration and cuts that were going to be made as a part of the overall effort on Governor Rauner's part to decrease their deficit. So with general state aid, the cut that we were given was a 2.15%, and once again, these are all things that are being hashed out still as we speak. So we're just getting online and getting the information as anybody in the public or the media can to see what those numbers might look like, and to apply it to our funds. We've kind of outlined, I wanted to outline for you tonight what that might mean. So with general state aid, we've been at 89% proration. So with that being even 2% or a little over 2% less than that, we're expecting that additional loss of funds for this current school year's budget. We are not talking about next year's budget. We have not gotten any word on that yet. So this is just what we're doing right now in this operation of this budget is $778,070. We know that that's about what it will mean to us. Then the categoricals, what we've been told is that there's different levels of proration for each of the categorials, but on an average, it's about 2.25%. So if you apply that, you're seeing, for instance, in the education fund, which has special education personnel, special education extraordinary services, special education orphanage tuition, and that's tuition for students that come to us from foster placements and things of that nature, and then also private tuition for special education. Those are the categoricals that we have in our ed fund. Those are going to equate to about $922,029. In our transportation fund, we have two different line items. That's a special education reimbursement and regular and vocational reimbursement for having our students go to vocational programs, and just our regular school bus transportation. And that total cut would be approximately $101,569. And then other grants. These are other small categorical grants that you see with early childhood services. That's about a $74,000 hit. Advanced placement services is just a little over $1,000, and bilingual education is a very small grant that we have in our district, but that is still being cut, so we'd have a loss of about $864. And these are, once again, estimates that we have made based on what we're learning. We know that this is being presented to the State Board of Education, I believe, on April 14th. We also know that the state has put aside $97 million to support districts that are in need. We have yet to hear whether or not we will be a recipient of any of those dollars from the Illinois State Board of Education. They're working on their process and their plan as we speak, and that will be delivered to them in April at their meeting, and we will then have notification. We just can't really estimate whether or not we will be affected by that. So, I mean, that's a pretty big hit, well over $1 million of effect for us. And we want to, make sure that we're fiscally sound and moving forward. As you know, we had kind of moved forward and had fund balance in the past couple of years that we were able to save through our cuts, being very prudent with our savings and making sure we stuck to those things throughout this school year, and even trying to realize more savings throughout the school year if we could. We know that by the end of this fiscal year, we were hoping to have about 2.4 million in our reserves in fund balance so that we could, start to build that back up, get a better bond rating, be more fiscally solvent. And we know that this will of course take a hit with that. We still have a little bit money left after this, but we know that as the future rolls, we don't want to see these cuts get any deeper. It's going to slow our progress down for really increasing our fund balance, which is the goal of this board, to have a balanced budget and always have sound financial practice. But I am proud of us for making those cuts and sticking to them and making sure that we're still providing a great educational experience for our students and tightening our belt as we did so. We've been working hard to keep that fund balance, but we're also keeping our eye on rising costs of transportation across the state. We know that when people go out for transportation bid, which we are, that higher bids are coming in, and we know that with cuts in transportation and higher bids coming in, those are at odds with one another. We know that expecting health insurance increases is a very large reality. We know that we're all facing and everywhere Affordable Care Act and issues that might come with that have increased costs. And then also we're keeping our eye on any pension shifts that might come through. So financial planning in the educational world right now is a little bit difficult. It's in a gray area for sure, but we want to make sure that we're supporting great programs in our district and really making sure that we're providing everything we need for our students. You did see in the budget calendar that tonight would have been the night that we would RIF teachers if we needed to RIF, which means reduction in force. And I am happy to tell you that with the amount of teachers that we have retiring this year and the amount of resignations we've had, just people moving on, we were able to, any cuts that we did have to make just based on our general allocations, we were able to absorb those so we don't have to actually do any reduction in force. So we're just able to do that through attrition and through our natural means, and we'll keep our fingers crossed, that things go well over the next few weeks, and maybe we are the recipient of some of that money to help us build back that fund balance again. At this time, we do have, and Mrs. Sherman, correct me if I'm wrong, about 34 vacancies, and that's after we had those teachers that were cut from their current positions find other positions within our district. So we're all going through the process, and we've been working right alongside the union to let them know what's going on and help them, be a part of our conversations. But right now, we do have vacancies, and that's across regular education, special education, and especially anybody that would like to apply for speech and language positions, please contact the district, because we've always been looking for speech and language pathologists. There's a shortage out there. So I would love to answer any questions or just give you any insight to where we are right now, but right now we can't give you a lot of specifics because we haven't actually gotten the actual, numbers and understanding of how the 97 million will be issued to school districts.
Any questions?
Okay, so I do have some questions. So there's 97 million out there. So how is our district going to be presenting our request for?
From what I understand, it's a formula that they're going to be utilized. So it's not as if it's a grant writing opportunity for us. It's a, how is your district financially in terms of the money that you have available? I think it has to do with, and Joe, I think you had some insight into that, but it's our special education numbers, our low income percentages, all of those things, and then our district gets a number assigned to it, right?
Right, I
That's
don't know a lot.
preliminary.
I think it's based off of our financial score, which is kind of our indebtedness, our number of days cash on hand. There are 5 different components that make up that, and that's what puts us on the early warning list that the state issues once a year. So, which puts us down, in the lower, I don't know the exact numbers, 20 percentile of districts if that's the score that they use. So we would expect to get something back based on that. But again, we have no insight into what the formula is or how that 97 million
There's
will be.
over 800 school districts in the state, most of which are suffering the same thing. This is a competition in reverse order.
Yeah.
The districts that are in the greatest need probably will have a better shot at getting something.
Right.
If the formula's written correctly, that's the thing. They got to factor in
And
that.
if they even got enough money to fund the project.
And for
Exactly.
what I understand is they're working hard on that, and that then when they have to present it to their state board, and then once they see the plan, then it'll be issued to the school district, so.
Are any of the school districts, do they have any input into how the formula is developed?
Not that I know.
Not
of.
that we're aware of. It's the state board will determine the formula and how those funds are redistributed back to the district.
Now, we have several state board members who used to be affiliated with 186 or are from around this area. We should be lobbying those board members. So when the formula does come up, those board members understand how that will affect us. That's something we could be doing. It may not help, but we know those board members, we need to be talking to them.
Another question that I had is, if we are receiving funds back, will it be specified where we have to apply that money, or do we have
That's
some flexibility?
Yet to be determined as well.
We don't know that yet
Okay.
either. We don't know if it'll be one number or if it'll be,
Percentage back into each of those
Each of those
categoricals
lines,
or
right.
into our GSA. We're not
Okay.
sure.
Well, if it is one number, have we started prioritizing any of these areas where we would or would not apply the money?
We haven't at this point, but we would look at I would say our special education budget would need to be, and our transportation. Those are our two biggest categoricals, and we would want to make sure that we're funding them appropriately. It's a great suggestion. Thank you for that.
The other question I had, and this is completely personal, is early childhood cut. How does that impact ELC? Or does
Well,
it?
and there's two different components at the ELC. There's the early learning programs, and then there's the special education early childhood programs. And Mrs. Baker, it's my understanding that that's what they mean when they're talking about the early childhood, is the special education component.
Okay. Which affects all of our schools at that
Right.
point. Well, yeah.
But it's two different budgets.
Okay.
I'm really glad to see that we're not having to RIF teachers. I, for one, and I'm just speaking for myself, I will not vote to RIF one more teacher until the state starts doing their part and starts funding us correctly. I mean, seriously, it's just, we've cut and cut and cut and cut, and then we just really can't RIF teachers anymore without really impacting education, so.
Yeah, well, we don't have any fluff in the number of teachers that we have in our buildings. When Mrs. Sherman went through and did the allocations for staffing, we've kept steady attendance over the past, steady enrollment over the past 5 years, and we've cut many teachers. So we're pretty much down to the place where we're to the bare bones. Yeah. I do have some positive things then. If nobody has any more questions, you have one more? Okay.
I do. So looking at your calendar.
the budget
then,
calendar.
You plan to come to us with a tentative budget April 30th. And I guess I want to reinforce the comments that were made earlier. I think it was our collective directive to Dr. Hill when we were doing this budget process that we wanted a balanced budget and we wanted some savings. And I have not heard any different sentiment from any of the other 6 of you, and I hope that that's still our directive going forward. We haven't seen any glimpses of you, from you on what this budget's going to look like, but that is certainly my
Yeah, well, I can tell you, the last meeting is when you gave me the go-ahead to start working on FY16
Right.
budget. So
Yes.
Mr. Basco and I, and each of the members you see sitting at this table have met individually by department over the last 2 weeks. We've gone line by line through each of their budgets, looking at where they are now, where they want to go in the future, any savings that we can do, and that's something I'm working on to bring you a full report of. That's what began the kind of the tentative budget. And then, Mr. Basco, you and I were talking a little bit earlier too about budget adjustment on the calendar, just because some of the information that we thought we would have when we went into this budget calendar would be a little bit altered by not knowing exactly what the state's going to do. So we were looking at what we might need to do to push that budget out a little bit.
Right. The budget calendar was originally set up in order to get the budget approved in June, which we always like to do. The second board meeting in June is very early this year. It's
The first.
It's the
The first is the
15th.
first, June 1st, and then there's, yeah.
the 15th. So, which means because we need to have it on file for 30 days, we would need to have it to you by May 2nd, 3rd, 4th. I'm not sure of the exact date. At this point in time, I don't know. The first week of May, we're going to have no idea on what our revenue side is going to be. We can prepare our expenditure side, what we think it's going to be based on this year's budget. we had discussed today possibly pushing back the approval until July, knowing that it would be done in June. The approval process just would take place until July.
And hopefully we'd have all of our state payments by then and know a little bit
And
more.
we know, the state budget would be set by then, and we would know what we're supposed to receive.
Okay. Does that answer a little bit of what you were requesting? And I was in the audience loud and clear last year when you talked about having a balanced budget, and that's the whole notion that we've been going through and talking with our departments. So.
Just to add to that discussion, as we continue to cut back, and as we sit here and see what happens in our schools, we are quite fortunate that we are not ripping anybody tonight, but we have to be value added to remember that we're here to protect children. And to constantly talk about savings when there's may not be any place to cut if we're down to bare bones already. The thing we have to look forward to is making sure, we hope that the state will give us the rest of the money that they owe us, okay? And that's for the current fiscal year. Mm-hmm. We don't know what's going to happen next year. It's all up in the air, and as this governor continues to forge ahead like a bat out of hell, I guess you'd say, cutting social service programs, it's no telling what he's going to do to education, and that's the thing we have to be assuring that our children in the state of Illinois, and especially our responsibility in Springfield, get a good education. And it's not about saving dollars. Well, we don't have any dollars to save at the moment. That we would love to do it, but we have to assure that we're not just cutting for the sake of cutting.
Any other comments on the budget or questions? All right. Well, I do have some positive things to end the day, and then we'll get out of here quickly, I know. I just had some shout-outs. We've had some great individual awards throughout our district, and I wanted to make sure that we mention them publicly. Shout-out and congratulations to Lincoln Magnet 8th grader Zaire Harris on his 2015 IESA Scholar Attitude Award. Zaire was selected as one of 15 statewide winners. He's currently serving the Beta Club president, serves as vice president last year, and he served as captain on the cross-country team, the Scholastic Bowl. He participates in track and the basketball team. So all of those made him eligible for the IESA Attitude Award. And it's a big deal. That's one of 15 in the whole state of Illinois. A lot of middle schools in the state of Illinois. So big shout out to him. Shout out and congrats to Springfield High School senior Maddie Crawford. She's a Golden Apple Scholar, which is also very hard to obtain. She was chosen for her exceptional academic accomplishment and perseverance as an outstanding educational leader in the school, and she is going to attend SIU Carbondale in the fall. And also at Lanphier High School, senior Brett Palmer was a Golden Apple Scholar. Brett was chosen for his outstanding academic accomplishments, leadership skills, aspirations to serve his educational community in the future, and he has not made a final decision on college, but he's trying to decide between Illinois College and SIU Edwardsville, so great accomplishment for Brett as well. Just want to thank Lynn Gilmore for a great job on the Studio 186 Family Art Night that we had last couple Saturdays ago. It was a great event. Many of us were there, and I saw so many kids enjoying just art on a Saturday with their families, and people were messy and having fun, and that's the best kind of family out activity. Also, Southeast High School senior Annabelle, I'm going to say Amuse, on winning the Poetry Out Loud State Championship. Annabelle recited 3 poems at the state competition, and she's actually advancing to the Washington, D.C. National Finals on April 28th and 29th, and we really wish her the best. And she is one of 52 finalists nationwide, and so that's a really big success, one from each of our 3 high schools today, and I was just really, really proud. Also, Ameren, Illinois, their partnership with the Springfield Urban League resulted in Southeast High School learning how the electricity and natural gas system work and how they can pursue specific careers in energy. So they really really, Ameren was really bringing job opportunities to our students' doorsteps, kind of giving them the idea of what jobs might be out there in the energy industry, kind of like we had with our Rube Goldberg today as well. So Franklin Middle School also brought home 11 ribbons in the New Berlin Art Fair last month, so that was another big shout out from our middle school. So other couple community things that happened that were really pretty cool for us. The United Way gave us the Golden Award recipient for our school district. We had the highest percentage increase in the whole entire city and actually the county for any organization. We had an increase of $35,256 of giving, and that was a total of $67,662 in contributions, and that was a 109% increase. I had no idea that we were going to receive that award when we went, so it was a real honor to be there that day. And just a big shout out to Nalo and Ann. Thanks for all your work in helping with that program. So thanks so much. And then when I was asked to speak as the community speaker at the Horace Mann annual employee meeting, and I got $10,000 for the Public Schools Foundation to purchase technology. So that's a good day's work, right? And I was just really overwhelmed by both of those awards and the commitment that United Way has to our district and the students that we serve, and also Horace Mann and always giving back to us in so many ways. So those are some of the great things that have been happening in the midst of trying to figure out all of our budget woes and considerations. I just still continue to be proud to be superintendent of the school district each and every day. So that's the end of my report tonight.
That's some very good news. Thank you. Okay, now we're on to consent action items 9.1 through 9.10. And turn it over to Mrs. Gill.
Yeah, I gotta find my little sheet again in front of me. Okay, I recommend approval of the consent action items 9.2 through 9.10 as described in the corresponding resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
Questions?
Any questions, discussion?
I think it's 9.2 through 9.9. On our,
There's a 10.
10 on mine is approval of the 2015-16 school calendar.
I think you're looking at the old version though.
Yeah,
Oh,
bumped
did they
up
take that one? Oh, because we backed it up.
Because
Okay.
9.1 is the
Yeah, well, that's
consent
what they
item.
gave me. All right.
All right.
Is that where we need to go? Okay, so through 9.9,
Okay.
which
I
is
have
the
a
school
question.
calendar. Yeah.
So I didn't see the calendar for the specials just see the regular calendar. Did I miss something?
It was attached.
It's
School
on
calendar was
Yeah.
attached, yeah.
I didn't see it. I'll look again real quick.
I had a copy of it. This is with all my chicken scratchings on it. I have a copy.
Yeah, but what about year-round and all those we don't have to approve on? I thought we
I just
usually
pulled
see
out
more
the
than
one, but yeah.
calendar.
Yeah, we have two calendars, one for year-round and one for the regular calendar. Do we do the year-round after that, Mrs. Boozer?
They're in the process of voting on theirs now.
Okay.
They do theirs after we.
Okay, so we'll vote on the regular calendar tonight, and then balanced calendar will come. Okay, thank you for explaining that.
Is the major change this that we're starting a week later because of the state fair? So consequently, we get out a week later, but everything else is pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's concerning that our finals are going to be after
Yeah,
the
it's not
Christmas holiday.
exactly the same, yeah.
But I know there's not much we can do about with the state fair, but having those finals in January is really concerning.
Yeah. There's a couple of reasons that we had to look at that, and please tell me if I'm not paraphrasing correctly. One, if we're starting so late because of the fair, it's just the tradition and the way that it works here in this district and the different things we deal with in terms of schools that are located centrally, right in the middle of the fair, and all of those things. The imbalance this year would have been significant with 77 days in the first semester and 98 days in the second semester, which is a real imbalance in classrooms that need specific contact time with students, like driver's education can't possibly get it in. It's a very difficult thing to do, to get in the 77 and the 98. So pushing it back after the holidays is never what we want to do, but we also don't want to start during the fair. It's almost impossible to do so. So that's kind of where the decision, and once again, I see, Mrs. Weedcamp's in the crowd here, but we voted with the union, and they voted overwhelmingly for this calendar that we bring to you today.
There is a week built in before finals, so they don't go on break and then come back into the finals. They go on break, come back, and actually get a chance to go over, to refresher before they actually go into the finals. So we did take that into consideration. And then a lot of our students work the fair, so we didn't want to have to try and start school while some of them were still working. So we wanted to take that into consideration as well.
Do we have any idea of how they determine what the state fair, the date's going to be each year?
We called them, and I want to say they told us it's always the first, the second Thursday. Yeah, it's always the second Thursday of August. So we called them and tried to, to change, but
We didn't have that pulled.
Well, right now they're hiring. So.
Yeah, they don't have a director yet. So.
Yeah, so we thought maybe since they didn't have one, they would.
That's
fair. But
Well, I know there's
it just
not-
happens about every 7 years.
Yeah.
The second Thursday falls like this. So about every 7 years or so, this is going to be an issue.
We've had a lot of conversations, especially with the high school teachers, to make sure that they understand the thought process and the work that went into thinking through all of those issues.
Question. Have we done an analysis of how this Wednesday early dismissal is working? Is it perfect, or is it need tweaking, or?
I looked at
Did we
Mrs.
vote on
Boozer.
it?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't,
Permanently? Yeah, I mean, what's
we
going
feel it's working. I don't know. I mean, the teachers are overwhelmingly happy with the practice that they get the time, and we wouldn't want to change that at this point. We want to keep making it better.
They love the idea of having that time they know is going to be for them to collaborate and to work together. As a matter of fact, I just met with a group of principals right before we came downstairs, and they were just saying it's been working seamlessly. It's been a great addition. So
It's been a way for many of our teachers who are in schools where they're the only teacher of fifth grade to travel and have collaboration with other fifth grade teachers. We've had groups like our speech and language, our social worker, our psychologists are able to get together and actually have conversation and improve their craft. So it's not just been good for the classroom teacher, but for those other employee groups as well.
Okay, so, then I've got to start feeling better about the social work component.
I know.
I've been
I'm
on you
working
about
with
it all
you.
year.
I know.
And
My social workers are working hard.
I need to see some action where these kids are getting these services. You know, they just desperately need it.
Yeah, I think if any of us in this room had one wish list, it would be to have more of our social work teams in our buildings, because right now, with the way that they are spending their minutes working with our students with special needs and working in, IEP meetings and some of those things, their time, they wish they could have more time in the day. They wish they could work 24/7 to meet the needs of our ever-changing student population.
Hopefully built into this component of this Wednesday meetings, not only are the social workers meeting amongst themselves, but they need to meet with the full staff so that people can get a full idea of their accessibility and what services they can provide, so they can get suggestions from one another, how they might interact together. I mean, I only got 2 years left, but it's going to be a real dance, okay? Come on.
All right, looking forward to it. All right, that's fine. I understand what you're saying.
2 more years.
You heard it here.
Anything else?
We gotcha.
Hearing none, we'll take roll.
Lopez,
Aye.
McFarland,
Aye.
Moore. Aye. Zimmers.
Aye.
Lemany.
Aye.
Thunderbird. Aye. Johnson.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, roll call items, 10.1.
President Zimmers and members of the board, the superintendent recommends adoption of the personnel recommendations as present, well, actually with one change. Page 1, letter A, certified and classified resignations releases. The FTE should be 0.6 rather than 1.0.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
McFarland.
Aye.
Moore. Aye. Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
Aye.
Funderburg.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, 10.2, approval of amendment to health, life, safety surveys.
Mr. Shaver?
Thank you, President Zimmers, members of the board. Superintendent recommends adoption of the following resolution. Be resolved that the Board of Education of Springfield School District 186 hereby accepts and approves the amended certified estimates from the architect in the amount listed below that are necessary for building repairs for the schools listed below, and that is for Lanphier High School for asbestos abatement and $112,600, and Lincoln Magnet School, which adds to that project, $444,000.
So moved.
Second? Second.
Where are we with health, life, safety after this? I know we got,
On the amounts after we spend this year, we're about halfway through what we had left. I think that was about $9 million, so I can get
so
you
about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And with those are, it's all planned out already, correct?
through the last 2 years, and that report that was done
Yep.
in October.
Mhm. And that we're still on track for all of those?
Correct.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Moore.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
Aye.
Funderburg.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
McFarland.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, 10.3, approval of a resolution regarding the sale of district real estate.
Yes. President Zimmers and members of the board, whereas the district owns property located at 3040 Linden, Springfield, in Sangamon County, Illinois, commonly known as Pleasant Hill Elementary School, legally described as set forth on the attached Exhibit A, and whereas the board has determined that such real estate is unnecessary and unsuitable for use by the district, and whereas it is the best interest of the district that such real estate be sold in accordance with procedures set forth in Section 522 of the Illinois School Code, 15 Illinois School Code 5-5-22, and whereas with regard to the sale of the property described in this resolution, it is in the best interest of the district that the district reserve the right to reject all bids. And whereas the board sets a minimum sale price of $205,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the superintendent, that would be me, is hereby legally authorized and directed to sell such real estate known as Pleasant Hill Elementary School at a closed bid session by sealed bid with a minimum sale price of $205,000 after first giving notice of the time, place, and terms of the sale in accordance with Section 5/22 of the Illinois School Code. The district reserves the right to reject all bids.
So moved.
Second.
And I have a motion to amend.
Yes.
I motion to strike by auction or.
Okay, that's what we needed to do. Okay.
Which would make it read now, therefore be it resolved that the superintendent is hereby legally authorized and directed to sell such real estate known as Pleasant Hill Elementary School at public sale by sealed bids, et cetera, et cetera.
Perfect.
So that's my motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is just to eliminate the auction piece. We feel that sealed bids are going to be the best route moving forward.
I have a question though. I believe someone has expressed maybe an interest in it. If you don't have much interest, are we willing to come down off that price?
Yeah, I think
know
that
it
that's
was
something that the bid.
That's assessment value, right?
Right, that's the assessed value, and yeah, so we got an appraisal done. And I think that since we have the closed bids now, we'd looked at them and decide which one's the best option and see if we choose to accept it or not. I mean, that would be up to the board.
Yeah, but it still has the option.
Am I right? Yeah.
Okay, so the superintendent's not gonna make that decision by herself,
I can't make that
right?
decision by myself, no.
Okay.
You want to buy it?
Recreation.
Mike? Some of your money.
Some of your money.
Okay, we have an amended motion on the floor. Any other questions? discussion?
Okay, so first we're going to vote to approve the amendment.
And then you'll
And then
approve it
we'll vote
again
on
as
Right.
amended.
And then we'll have to do it again.
Okay.
We'll do it
And
backwards.
Mr. Zimmers, I'm sorry, I did not hear who seconded the amended motion.
Donna.
Thank you, Mrs. Moore. So this is the vote on the amended motion to strike the language regarding an auction from that motion,
Correct.
from that resolution. Zimmers,
Aye.
Flamini,
Aye.
Funderburg,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye.
McFarland.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
And then I just have one comment real quick.
Okay.
Very quickly. This is actually more so to the previous administration, but I think it needs to be said. I'm disappointed that we waited this long to do this. We closed this school down over 2 years ago, and it's been sitting there empty. I know we've used it for storage, but it has not been a help to that area. So I hope that if this district decides to close schools again, I hope that it learns the hard lesson and has a plan before it starts closing doors. Because there was no plan for Pleasant Hill when we shut the doors on Pleasant Hill. Now we have a good plan. I'm happy the board's moving forward. I'm happy the superintendent's pushing with this. Thank you. But there needs to be a better plan moving forward if you do this again.
So noted. Okay, now, go ahead. Lee.
So now we vote on,
Let's vote.
All right. So we're voting on 10.3, approval of the resolution.
Flamini,
Aye.
Funderburg,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye.
McFarland.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, and on to 10.4, student discipline.
President Zimmers, members of the board, it is my recommendation that one ninth grade student be hereby expelled from further attendance at Springfield High School Alternative PM Program through the end of the 2015-16 school year with a program, and that one 11th grade student be hereby expelled from further attendance at Springfield High School through the end of the 2015-16 school year with a program, and that one 10th grade student be hereby expelled from further attendance at Lanphier High School through the end of the 2015-16 school year with a program.
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Funderburg.
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye.
McFarland.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, does anyone else have anything else? If not, thank you all for coming, and we will see you again Monday, April the 20th at 6:30 PM.
Yeah, so.
I just like to write those down there and then
Say what?
well, there's like the fix it then, so it's
I'm gonna have to start with
correct.
now.
It's just doing it while everything else is going on. I know.
Your walking shoes ready? She's on board, so yeah, we just got back. Great.
Never go to your mom's calendar.